Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you are watching this. If you are joining us live, this is episode 51 of the Productive Wellbeing Show with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. And today I am joined by an amazing special guest. Today on the show, I have Libby Moore. Libby is an international speaker, an executive coach, life coach, and founder of LoveX Global. Prior to this, Libby was the chief of staff to Oprah Winfrey for a decade, as well as an executive assistant to Jann Wenner, the founder and publisher of The Rolling Stone. There are so many ways that this episode could go. Libby has been on many stages, shows, and panels around the world talking about a huge variety of things, most of which you should be able to find with a quick Google search. So today we're going to focus on what Libby has learned about spirituality and business, working with Oprah Winfrey for over 10 years, and how this has overflowed into the work that she does today with clients in her business. Libby, thank you so much for making the time to be on the show with me and all of us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
So excited. Now, guys, as you are joining live, if you are joining live, let us know where you're joining from. Say hi. I'm just going to check. I can see that we're live on Facebook. I'm just going to check on LinkedIn to see who's there. And if you have a question for Libby, put the question in the comments, and if there's time, we'll get to it. And if not, we'll go through the comments afterwards and see if we can sort of reply after the session, because obviously we're aware of time and there's so many things that we could talk about. So we're really going to sort of focus in on 3 or 4 key things today. So I hope you have got notepads and pens. Every time I listen to Libby speak, I just take so many notes. So yeah. And just before we get started, Libby, there's some people saying hi. So I'm just going to say hi. We've got Beth in the house, Andrew, Karima. Who have we got on Facebook? We've got Jody. Jody is in Vancouver, Canada. Libby is joining us from Vancouver, Canada.
Too. I love that.
So awesome to have all of you guys, because I know it's super early in Vancouver this morning. Like
6:32 a.m. 6:32 a.m.
6:32, and Libby has been up since 4:30 meditating.
Right. Not for an hour and a half, but I did get up to squeeze that in. It's important.
What a freaking rock star you are. Well, as you guys are joining, just let us know where you're joining from, because it's so awesome to be with you all. Libby.
Yes.
Let's sort of begin by talking about what does be your authentic self? What does that mean? What does that mean to you in your life today, in business? Where did all of that start?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, honestly, it truly started. Well, let me go back a little. It really started when I was 27 and I came out. So I knew I was gay my whole life and thought I'll go to my grave with this secret. And then at 27, when I moved to New York City at 25, I got a job as Maury Povich's personal assistant. He's a US talk show host. And about 2 years after I was working with him, I came out. He did a show called Coming Out Strong. I watched it. I said, I've felt this way my whole life. It's time to come out. So that I would say, was the number one turning point for me, because I wasn't lying anymore. And then I went on to work at Rolling Stone with Jann Wenner for 4 years. And then I went to work as Oprah Winfrey's chief of staff executive assistant for 11 years. And that 11 years with Oprah literally changed my life for obvious reasons. And I would say the number one lesson, as you just mentioned, what I learned from her is being my authentic self. By watching her be her authentic self 100% of the time with everybody, whether it was the president of the company, the executive producer, or Nelson Mandela, all of these people, prime ministers, presidents, housekeeping staff, a server in a restaurant, everybody. She never changed who she was. And that I saw how powerful that was. She was 100% herself on her show. For those of you who saw her show, it was on for 25 years in 144 countries around the world. She was exactly who she was on that show as she was in real life. And so by observing her and seeing that modeled for me, that inspired me to be more of myself. And I remember one time, about 5 days into the job, I had moved from New York City to Chicago. And 5 days into the job, we were flying from Chicago to South Carolina for her to do an O magazine cover shoot. And she said to me, Libby, what do you want to get out of this job? And I hadn't really thought about it at that point. And what came up for me is I said, I want to find my voice and have the courage to speak it. And she said, good, that's good. And then I just forgot about it. Well, as 11 years go by, as you can imagine, Abigail, when you ask for something like that, for example, if you ask for patience, it doesn't mean that everything goes really smooth and it's so easy for you to have patience. You know, it means all this stuff happens in your life for you to exercise patience. And that's how you learn patience. So for me, in 11 years, it wasn't like her saying, Libby, what do you think of this show? And me saying, oh, I didn't care for it. I didn't really like it because A, B, and C. And for her to just say, oh, okay, that's fine. No, it was, you're going head to head, you know, whether it was with her or other people within that business world. It's about standing up for what you believe in, saying what you feel, and having the strength to stick with it. So the times, I think there were 6 times in 11 years, 5 times in 11 years that I felt like at times, I think I might lose my job. She might be so upset with me that I might just lose my job over this. But I thought, this is what I feel the truth is. I feel it's in her best interest. And so I have to stand by it. So that was an example of, you have to, you know, be your authentic self, tell the truth, and stand up for what you feel is right. And I learned that from her. There's no better teacher than that.
Amazing. It's so awesome, isn't it, when we see people embodying and then it just becomes who we are. So I guess, is this something that you do a lot with your clients now, with the workshops and the one-to-ones?
Yeah, because I feel that if you are not your authentic self, then you're not bringing your full self to the business, the company, whatever you're working on. So, and again, as we've talked about before, that deep breath, slow exhale, when people are saying, well, how do I be myself when I'm not feeling myself? The best thing to do is take a deep breath, slow exhale, and it brings you right back into alignment with your higher self, universe, source, God, whatever you call that. The deep breath, slow exhale can at least bring you right back there in that moment.
Amazing. I love it. And do you find that if you ever stray from that authentic self in business, in a conversation, how does it show up in you? Does it feel off? Do you get a thought?
Well, I think we all know how that feels, and you just are thinking in your head, this isn't me. I'm being a chameleon to these people or this person or this business to try to fit in or not rock the boat. And that's not who I am. But a lot of us feel like we don't want to lose our job, or we don't, you know, a lot of people have kids, and, you know, there's so much mortgages, bonds, kids, so much they think, I don't want to lose this, so I'm going to tweak myself to fit in. And that is not working. I mean, we see that in the US right now with Black Lives Matter. I mean, around the world, I would say it is about being ourselves, standing up for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable. That's where the greatest change will come.
It's so true, so true. And all of these situations just trigger so much sort of past trauma with a small t or a big T in ourselves that is sort of ready for healing.
Absolutely. Yes.
So guys, I just have to say, this conversation is going to sort of stray between the lines of business and spirituality, and take away from it. You will take away from this conversation whatever you want to. But so we had a quick chat before about, like, how it should go, but we're just sort of here to speak the truth and speak our truth, and how we are in our businesses and how Libby is in her business is just living and embodying this authentic person, an authentic self, with her clients, with her conversations. And it works. It's the only way to be.
Abigail, I'm going to break out of your thing for a second. Because we're organic, right? We're just going with the flow. And I want to say, because you just said that, I got why you just said that. So a lot of people think spirituality in business, how does that even, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about, I'm glad you just said what you said. What I am talking about is that, I love that quote, and I don't know who said it. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
So whatever your belief is, everyone listening, whether you call, if you believe in a higher power or not, all the clients I work with, I always ask them, do you believe in a higher power or your higher self, or where do you fall in that line of thinking? And there's no right or wrong. And some people do call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people say, I believe in something, but I don't know what to call it. But almost everyone says, I believe in something, but I have no idea what it is or what to call it. And what I believe is that we're all talking about the same thing and arguing over what to call it. And so spirituality in business is about you bringing all that you are into your work and into the job. And when you're in alignment with that, your higher self that makes better decisions, your lower self, we could say, makes, not so great decisions. When you're in that alignment, that's what we're talking about. Spirituality, energy, the spirit of who you are, the essence, bringing the essence of who you are into business. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and that's amazing, because that then sort of leads us into our second sort of point to talk about, which was around our thoughts create our reality. So talk to us about how our thoughts create our reality, and some of the stories and examples that you've got from your life experience to date.
So again, just working at the Oprah Winfrey Show for that time, and all the different teachers and authors and, just different leaders that came on that show. And when you're listening to them, we tape 2 shows. She taped 2 shows a day for, 3 days a week. So when you're listening to all these people over and over and over again, despite what their position is, and you're listening to what they're saying about how they achieved or did not, so the very successful people or ordinary people doing extraordinary things, it all began with a thought, or I'm going to help that person. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a difference. Even something that little, I'm going to make a difference, is planting a seed which can grow into changing the world or changing your community. When we listen to women who got caught up in domestic abuse situations, a bad relationship, the thoughts churning in her head was about lack of worth. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. So again, whether we're talking about business or personal life, it's all the same thing at the core. It's your thoughts that are creating your life. So really watching that over and over again. As a matter of fact, I think within the first 6 months of working with her, a lot of big lessons came up then. And I had a disagreement with someone on her team. I was a part of this personal team, and I had a disagreement with this person, and we got into an argument about something. And I said to her later, I just feel like I want to explain to you what happened in the situation. And I feel like you're just giving this person so much, this person just like runs the whole company or something. I just kind of said like that. And she said, Libby, you are my chief of staff. You manage my office, my life. If you think this person has more power than you, then you're right, because you just handed them your power. Stop giving your power away. And that was such a huge lesson for me. And and everyone listening can think about that too. Who are you giving your power away? It might be your boss. It might be a coworker. It might be your partner. Stop giving your power away. And so that was a massive lesson for me. And then I did a deep dive into, do our thoughts create our life, after I left Harpo Productions, which was in 2012 when the show had ended. And I really thought, I'm going to use my life as a petri dish, a little petri dish, and my own experiments. Is this true? Do my thoughts create my life? And absolutely 100% they do. We are sending out an energy of vibration. I mean, I like to describe it as, when you think a thought, you're creating it creates a feeling. That feeling is information that's going into your atom cells and molecules, which is constantly moving. That's energy. You're sending that energy out to the universe with that information in it. And what you're sending out, you are getting back. So we all know when you go into work and there's that negative person who's constantly complaining, or you think, oh God, when you talk to that person, your vibration's going to go lower. You're going to feel wonky. And then we also know that person that you think, hey, how are you? And you connect. And after that conversation, you're vibrating, you're buzzing up here because you feel so good from it. So our thoughts, I could tell you, we can all imagine what that negative person's thoughts are on a hamster wheel, caught in the riptide of just negative thought, low energy, low vibration. And those people that are buzzing up here and you feel inspired by and excited to see and communicate with, their thoughts, we can all imagine what their thoughts are. So our thoughts create our life.
So your business that you're running now, LoveX Global, this has come from thoughts, from experiences, from meditation. A lot of us get our messages when we meditate. Your thought about this business, is it sort of rolling out based on what you're thinking and how you're thinking it? Like, I'm not saying like you meditate and a bag of gold lands on your head, but let's just go down this sort of spiritual path for a minute. Do you sort of meditate and ask the universe, the creator, the source of all that is, give me my next business idea, tell me who I should work with, send me my next client? Does it work like that?
100%. So I love that you just asked that question. So LoveX Global came in about 3 years ago. The idea came about 3 years ago. And every morning my practice is get up, meditate for 20 minutes. Then I go into prayer / intentional thought, creative visualization, meaning where I want to see myself in the future. And then journaling, 3 pages every morning.
Wow.
And to me, whoa, I am like, I get my coffee when I'm journaling. I'm high I'm so in alignment after that. So I had been doing executive coaching with a lot of people, and I was thinking, is this really rippling out? Is it really affecting the whole team that they're working with? And I started thinking about that. And then I started asking in meditation and prayer, thank you for showing me how to coach a company as if it's one individual. So whether it's 60 people, 600 or 6,000 people, thank you for showing me how to coach a company as if it's one person. And I'm just going to give you the short version because this is a very short show. And what came is, number one, you teach people how to love themselves. That's the number one thing. You remind people who they are, the power that they have within them, and how to love themselves. And then the word, so I'm jotting all this down because it's coming after meditation, all these ideas come. And then LoveX with a big X on the end popped up in my head. And it looked like the FedEx logo with those block letters, LOVE, with a big X on the end. And what that meant, what I interpret that as, is that it's if you teach one person how to love themselves, remember how to love themselves, multiplied is the X by, if you have 2 people at work doing that, if you and someone else are doing it, wow, that's a powerful little pod right there. And that energy is rippling out to those around them. If you have a team of 50 or 15 or 500 or 5,000, you not only, what happens is those people are changing their life, their personal life and professional life. They are working on it, changing themselves. And the byproduct is the entire company changes from the inside out, from a place of love. And there's no more powerful energy than love.
I absolutely love this. And I've got questions going off in so many different directions. when you're journaling, this is a big one where trying to teach journaling to people, which is kind of like, oh, I just sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and I just write, but I don't know what to write. Yeah. And I used to think it was a waste of time. What is your journaling style? How do you do it?
So in the 90s, I read a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a very popular book. And one of the things she teaches in the very beginning is when you get up first thing in the morning, just open your journal and write 3 pages, free association, meaning don't worry about grammar or spelling or what you're saying. It can be crazy talk. Just write. Whatever comes out, just get it out. So that's when I started journaling, and I would just write. It wasn't like, oh, so-and-so and I went to dinner last night and did that. It's not like that, like Dear Diary, it's just getting it out. So now, after the process of doing that for almost 20 some years, I always start, my first page is thank you. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this coffee. Thank you for our home. Thank you for this beautiful food. I just go into gratitude. The first page, thank you for my partner, just on and on and on. And then by the second page, or even sometimes by the first page, some ideas start popping in. So like LoveX Global, what do I want that to be? This is your blueprint for your life. So and sometimes I write about stuff from the past, but it's mostly now all about current, what I'm grateful for and what the future is. And it is a blueprint. I mean, that's how LoveX Global was born. It started with what I learned from Oprah and all of those rich lessons. And then me leaving and saying, I'm going to take a year and reconnect to myself, my family, my friends, and then getting my coaching certification, and then deciding, well, I'm going to use my life as a petri dish and take all those lessons I learned and really implement them and see what works and what doesn't. And so the journaling is just huge. I mean, that LoveX Global came through meditation and then writing out, and then what does that look like and how am I going to do it? And then once you've gotten it all written out through several months, then you mention to someone, oh, I'm just launching this thing called LoveX Global. I mean, and that's how it happens. And here we are, you're in the UK, I'm in Canada, and we're talking about it. And then that spreads. So it's about spreading love. And the journaling is massive.
Journaling's amazing. So the other question, it's so funny. Everybody is saying, like they're all saying, yeah, morning routine and journaling in the comments. Huge. Guys, if you've got a question for Libby, drop it in now. Visualization. Are you actually, before meetings, before sending off emails to people, like say if it's a pitch or if it's something you're nervous about, are you visualizing that person receiving it well, phoning you up to say, yes, it's done, seeing yourself speaking on stages in parts of the world? Like, how in detail are your visualizations?
Okay, so one, visualization is huge. My aunt gave me a book when I was 21 years old called Creative Visualizations by Shakti, Gawain. And I grew up and as an Episcopalian, a Christian, and I thought, there's very a limiting view of what that is. And then when I got that book, I thought, wait, your thoughts can create your life? That's amazing. So that opened me up to what that meant. And then just different books, different experiences, workshops, and then working with Oprah, it was like, whoa, what you visualize is so powerful because it's almost, and I don't know the neuroscience behind it, but your brain almost thinks it's actually happened in your life. So then, and also energetically, you're creating that energy, that feeling to bring it into your life. For example, I have been doing collages since I was in 8th grade, in the 80s, we called them collages, the 90s vision boards, and now it's called Pinterest and Instagram. But it's about, cutting out pictures or collecting pictures of what inspires you, what you want to do. And I have a huge one on my wall right now. It is so powerful. And so that's a tactical way of visualizing what you want. I know we're short on time, but I could go on and on about that.
We could go on and on. We've got a question and I've got one final question. Okay. I think we might have to do another interview at some point. So question has come in. Libby, did you learn your meditational engagement to do your business or did you find it just within you?
Ask that again.
Did you learn your meditational engagement to your business? I'm trying to understand what this question is.
Well, I'm going to answer it for the sake of time. I'll just try to. So meditation, I started in 2008. I read a book called Catching the Big Fish by David Lynch, the director. And that's what inspired me. And then I think it was in 2008 or something. And then Oprah brought in a teacher who taught transcendental meditation to Harpo. And then I learned that style. And then I went to India and I learned Kriya Yoga and all this different stuff. Here's what I do now. This is all you need to do. 3 deep breaths, slow exhales with your eyes closed. Try to do 3 deep breaths, slow exhales in a row without your mind wandering. Sometimes it takes me 28 minutes to do that. In the last 2 minutes, I can do 3 deep breaths and slow exhales without my mind wandering. It's aligning you with your higher self, whatever you want to call that, a higher energy, a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And when you're tapped into that, that's where all the answers, solutions, creativity, inspiration comes from. So the deep breath, slow exhale is aligning you with this higher thing, whatever you want to call it. And in that place, that's where LoveX came from. That's where the idea came from.
Amazing. Well, hopefully that answers Andy's question. So my final question then is, and we've talked a little bit about LoveX Global, but self-love. How important is self-love to business, to life, to everything?
It's everything. Love is everything. And for people that are tuning in and thinking, oh, it's a business meeting, and if you take all the business knowledge, all of these workshops and webinars and everything, yes, absolutely, it's going to enhance your workflow, what you're doing. And if you bring the energy of love into what you're doing, meaning loving yourself. Louise Hay wrote a book in the 80s, You Can Heal Your Life. Look in the mirror every morning and say, I love you. And you say your name after it, either out loud or in your mind. I've done it every day since 2014. I love you, Libby. Felt super cheesy in the beginning, super awkward. And I thought, why can't I can say I love you to my partner, my dog, my cat, this food, these shoes, this handbag, whatever. But I can't say it to myself. That's what's weird. Why can't we look in the mirror and say, I love you to ourselves? So I started doing it every day. And then by day 10, my eyes started to water. And I thought, wow, why am I so emotional? And what came, the voice that popped in, the thought was, because the first time in a long time, you're connecting to the essence and truth of who you are, which is love. That's how powerful love is. Do it every day for 30 days. And I promise you, people are going to notice the difference because you're changing the energetic and spiritual makeup of your body, mind, soul, and spirit. I'm talking fast because we have 3 minutes. I also want to say I've done it every day since 2014. I do it first when I wake up, brush my teeth, not while you're brushing your teeth or your hair, just you and you into your eyes. It takes 3 seconds. I love you. And that is what we need right now. Right now, with everything going on in the world, racial inequality. I mean, we can't have this conversation without touching on that. I mean, it's what people have talked about, whether you believe in Jesus, who talked about it, or Jann Wenner, who wrote about it, and everybody in between that's writing about love. What we need right now is love. And what that means, if you don't know what that means, is listening to your fellow man, your fellow human being, from your heart to their heart. Not, a friend of mine once said, do you want to be right or do you want to be in relationship? We need to be in relationship right now. Listen with our heart, with an open heart. Try our best to understand what your fellow human being is going through right now from a place of compassion and love. There's nothing more powerful than the energy of love. It's everything.
Because I'm you and you are me. So
exactly. And I want to add to that, that's what Oprah did for us. That's what she did on the show. That's what she did around the world. Her love, and we've all heard the trauma that she's went through as a little girl. And to stand up there as an adult on the show around the world and say, this is what I went through, and I find love, and I see love in you and you and you. I mean, that's why she was the #1 talk show for 25 years. And so many people respond to her because she's reflecting back to them the love that they see in her, she's reflecting back to them. That's what we all need to do right now.
And that is an amazing point. When you are love and you develop that self-love, it's just the mirror.
Yeah.
So what you believe about you is what you get back from others and what others get from you as well, isn't it? That's why it's so powerful for business and for life as well.
Yes. Yeah. And as we know, when you love is a frequency, I believe it's 528 hertz. Healing energy is 432 hertz. It's a frequency. So when you are in a place of love, it rises the frequency. It rises the vibration. So when you walk into a room, be the light that walks into that room. Be the love that walks into that room.
People are saying in the comments they're getting chills. I just got chills from that. That is so, so true. And guys, this is why we're going to have to take this conversation to another level on another day, because I know some of you have got to get back to work, and Libby's got to get on with her day because it's still the start of Wednesday there for you.
Yes, 7 a.m.
Yeah. So amazing. So thank you so much for coming on. Where can they find out about you? Where do you hang out?
I don't really hang out anywhere. I am on LinkedIn, and my website is libbymoore.com, LIBBY Moore, MOORE.com. And I do have a LoveX Global Instagram that has 6 posts. I would love for you all to join in. Libby Moore Gypsy Tour is my personal one, but LoveX Global, that's where I'm going to be at. That's where I'm going to be hanging out.
Amazing. I'm so excited. I followed it yesterday. So
good.
I can't wait. So guys, this is the start of the LoveX Global movement. Follow her on Instagram to get involved, and looking forward to the next page of the book, Libby, in the story of life. And also the LoveX Global book, which I'm sure you're working on. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live today. And if you're watching this on the replay, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I'm going to have to watch it back and take all the notes I couldn't take. And
thank you.
Thank you for your time. And guys, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't forget to keep washing your hands. See you soon.